What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle, and this is my first impressions video of Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Daemonhunters, which is a very, very long name. And I've been streaming it for a couple days, and here's what I think. The first comparison everyone's going to make to this game is XCOM, and understandably so. It looks like it pretty much feels like it, but it does have its own nuances. Of course, that's also not to say that's a bad thing. XCOM is a very cool and fun series, so I don't mind other things taking inspiration from it. The game itself is an isometric, tactical, turn-based game where you have an emphasis on moving efficiently, using your turns efficiently, going from cover to cover, and trying to flank and get advantages on enemies. But I would say the main difference between Warhammer and XCOM in these two different games is that Chaos Gate Daemonhunters does feel more offensively focused compared to XCOM, which feels more defensively focused. The main reason I feel this way is that this game has no accuracy, so there's no chance to hit that you have to worry about. The difference between getting shot at half cover and no cover feels pretty minimal, but if you have full cover, you're incredibly safe. Another thing I really like in Chaos Gate Daemonhunters is that the game is melee focused compared to XCOM, where that feels more range focused. And you can still run range builds. There's still really cool range things you can do in Warhammer, but using Terminator armor or having an interceptor that can teleport around and just melee people down is really satisfying. The game is also pretty cinematic too, so when you get like executions or use abilities, the game will kind of zoom in and pan around the camera and stuff, which is really fun. And overall, I feel the game is much easier to get into compared to XCOM. Another interesting thing is that Overwatch actually works a bit differently than it does in other tactical games like this. You still get to have an area of control, and you shoot things before they get to do anything when they run into that area. But it feels like it's a bit more fair this time around. When you're doing Overwatch, if you're behind cover, your character will step out from cover to perform Overwatch, so you don't just have this massive advantage. And then also Overwatch has less range than most range weapons do just by default. It doesn't really matter what your range weapon is. If you go into Overwatch, someone can shoot you from max range, so you do have counterplay. Another thing I enjoy is character building because they all get different trees and their classes and stuff. And XCOM, it felt like there were more binary choices. It's either one or two, depending on what class you are, but each choice is pretty impactful. In this, you have more passive choices that give you various stat boosts or increase your effectiveness. The one that sticks out most to me is Justicar gets this ability called Honor the Chapter, where they can give AP to other units. And this gets pretty strong because if you aren't in great positions with your Justicars, or if you want to like set up really good combo attacks or ganks and stuff, you can just dump AP into the units that need it. So the game is really heavily focused on action economy, which is something I enjoy. And there are numerous other playstyles you can do for each class, so it should help the game from getting stale because you have so many options. The game also has really good music and voice acting pretty much everywhere. Some lines don't finish the entire way, or lines of dialogue, they just give you the important bits, which is fine, I understand. But even if you don't want to read the dialogue itself and you just want to listen to what's being said to you, you still get everything you need to. Just like XCOM, there's shipbuilding and travel and time passing, so you have a lot of resources to manage, time being the most important one probably. And then there's after battle loot. Unlike XCOM, you don't have to run to the loot and pick it up before it blows up in 3 turns, which is something I really like because I don't enjoy that about XCOM. Which means that when you beat levels in Warhammer, at the end you have some points which are called requisition, and you can get extra ones by doing challenges, which is really fun. And the loot you have access to will appear on the victory screen, and you get to pick which ones you want, and if you have enough requisition, you can buy them. Next, I'll talk about the things I don't like, and then we'll close out the video. The first thing I raise an issue with is the UI. The UI itself is actually good in terms of giving you information, but the entire thing is just blue. It's just blue on blue in every direction, and that gets pretty difficult to stare at for a long period. Another complaint I have is that I've been playing the game for about 10 hours at this point, and I don't really feel there's much enemy variety. That might change later on, but when you start the game, you're fighting pretty much the same like 3 or 4 different units the entire time. Another thing I don't enjoy is the bloom percentage timer thing, the pressure mechanic. Some people really enjoy them, and that's fine, but I personally don't like pressure mechanics in turn-based games. I enjoy being able to take it at my own pace, but I also understand why it exists, so it's not like a game-breaking big deal for me. And compared to XCOM, I actually like this pressure mechanic more. So what happens with the warp surge is that once the meter gets to 100, it does that naturally as time progresses. Also, when you use your special abilities, it pushes the meter higher. And every time it reaches 100, something happens. It could be a random debuff, it could spawn reinforcements, just all kinds of stuff. And even though I don't like it, I would rather play with this than something like XCOM, which is basically just, yeah, you have to clear the map in 8 turns or you just lose. My final point of contention is that I don't like the price on the game. The base version is $45 USD. That is pretty steep for a Warhammer game not named Vermintide, because Warhammer has a history of games that are, mixed. So if you're on a budget and you're not sure, then I would either watch some streams or content creators. There are plenty of them out there that are covering this, like myself. And then if you enjoy what you see and you don't want to drop the 45, then maybe wait for a sale, like the Steam Summer Sale, which is coming up soon. Overall though, I'm really enjoying the game so far. I look forward to playing more of it. I enjoy the things I talked about before, like the mechanics and the music, and other characters that I forgot to mention, like Vakir, the Inquisitor that you get near the start of the game. She's just a really cool character. And this presentation of 40k lore is really nice to get into. I don't know much about Warhammer, but just listening to the dialogue and the things they talk about and like the religious factions and stuff, it's really cool and it makes me want to learn more about it. Alright y'all, that's gonna do it for this one. Let me know what you think down below in the comments and what you want to see out of this game if I keep covering it. Then if you want to do all the normal YouTube stuff like liking, subscribing, checking out the links in the box, all that is pretty cool and I would thank you. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.